Frostbite's been in development since 2006. And there's always been a Gen 4 and beyond. Frostbite 3 is the next step in that evolution.
And realistic looking game.
We have one unified program where you can create content that will run on everything from an iPhone to a next-gen content to do way more than they've ever been able to do before.
Effort on creating more dynamic and living environments.
Before, they would have to go to a lot of work to make a tree feel like it swayed in the wind. Now we give them the tools to create the tree, and we let the game engine control how the wind affects that tree.
Frostbite allows everything to work together. The waves on the beach, the wind blowing the whitecaps, even the clouds overhead all move consistently with the forces of nature.
You might see an explosion go off, you'll see the trees nearby shake from the explosion.
It's sort of subtle, but it creates this sense of seamless reality. So the large world coupled with a lot of people running around interacting with you really pays off in Battlefield 4.
Destruction has always been a core feature of the Frostbite engine.
It's the evolution of the way the environment is impacted by gameplay. Everything from the smallest spark colliding, but also gigantic chunks of debris that crumble when they impact the ground.
The guys on Battlefield 4 have been working on something called Levolution.
Levolution is really about the concept how you can drastically change a multiplayer map into something different. It could be anything from a big collapsing or to a
recent feature that we've put in, and you'll see in Battlefield 4, is our networked water simulation. So what this means is all players will see the same wave in the same position at the same time. And this leads to some pretty exciting cat and mouse type of gameplay where you're ducking down and going up and you can kind of peek around as you drive in your boat.
It will no longer swim on a flat surface. Instead, it will be affected by the different waves and everything. And that comes to everything from living characters that are swimming, but also to the ragdolls.
Something like a jet crashes into the ocean, you'll see the water react and the debris will then float on the waves. It's a very, very cool dynamic engine. Things just happen and it seems right.
Take cover!
In Frostbite 3, we've made a priority of much more believable, emotionally believable characters. There's a whole slew of features in Frostbite that support that, and one of the most important is the way a person's eyes look.
The way we render characters is better than ever before. We're doing subsurface scattered models. We have parallax animation in the iris. You'll notice it looks like a real eye.
Much more powerful than any engine I ever used before. And it's not just the specific world.
In the past, before we had the Frostbite team, we were building a new engine every time and we were kind of stumbling constantly. Now, to have the team here to focus on new releases with new goodies means that we as a team can focus on the creation.
It's used by a lot of different genres, so everything from racing games to real-time strategy games and RPGs.
Is falling, the sparks are flying, the boats are ramping off of waves. All of this is because of Frostbite 3.
This wasn't supposed to be how it happened. We're still sinking. If you're the man I think you are, you know what you have to do. Take my gun. Now, Wrecker, shoot out the window. Negative, don't do it. Shoot out the window, you all die.
Life's a game, but it's not fair. I break the rules, so I don't care.
Clock's ticking on the Titan. I need eyes on board before she's lost forever to the deep blue. Now, there's a number of variables at play. We don't know who attacked them or if they'll be back. Can't afford any surprises. I'll make room for any survivors.
Take cover!
Mission is a fucking disaster from beginning to end.
We got the intel. Do as I say, we'll get off this boat.
Yeah, okay. Show me how that's gonna happen.
Wrecker, the door. on! Take her alive! Take us home! Patrol boat incoming!
The commander is the only player on the team that has a unique overview over the entire battle. From there you can provide orders and assets, but the range of assets that you have at your disposal is directly connected to your team's performance under your command. The commander supports his team in 3 different ways. The first layer is the intel warfare. This is where you gather intel, but you also prevent the other commander from doing so. Providing your troops with vehicle drops, supply drops to keep the war machinery going. And the final layer, that's when you go on the offensive. And on top of all of this, you will be able to play as a Battlefield 4 commander on a tablet connecting to a live game server on PC or console, making it a true next-generation T-play experience.
We've neutralized Objective Bravo. I say again, Objective Bravo has been neutralized. We now control Objective Bravo. I have eyes on an enemy machine gunner, south of your location. Where's that 18 fire coming from? There's a hostile anti-tank east of your position. I have eyes on a hostile AT soldier just south of your current location. Objective Charlie has been neutralized. I say again, Objective Charlie has been
Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be talking about weapon attachments and all the different ways that you can. Now I'm not really sure what this helicopter pilot's up to. I don't think he's going to be able to fly this thing out of here. I also want to lightly address the field upgrades, which is available weapon sights. For the most part, assault rifles, carbines, light machine guns, PDWs all had reflex red dot sights available to them of 1x magnification. The first one we're looking at here is the circle with a red dot in the center. Then we have the Chinese red dot sight, also known as the Coyote red dot sight, and it looks very similar to a red dot sight that I use on my airsoft weapons. Then we have the Russian PKAS 1x holographic sight. This sight is also available in Battlefield 3, except it gives you a little bit of a zoom in BF3. I don't believe it gives you the zoom in BF4, which is actually more realistic. Now it is a holographic sight instead of a red dot sight, which in real life uses different technology than red dot sights to display the targeting reticle, but as far as in-game mechanics go, you shouldn't really be seeing much of a difference in terms of how this sight works over another red dot sight. Now as far as sniper rifles go, on the Scout Elite you could mount the CL6X 6x scope, and there was a 20x hunter scope in the game, and I believe the 20x hunter scope is longer than any other scope, so it'll be awesome to see what playing with a 20x scope is like and how far away we can line up some headshots. Moving on from sights, we have the barrel modifiers. Now what's cool about the muzzle brake is, aside from the fact that it reduces the kick of the weapon for sacrificing the actual accuracy of the weapon, you can see how it actually changes the gun over on the right hand side. No red bar where accuracy is located, so maybe that's just not built into the game yet. There was a lot of stuff in the game that just wasn't quite implemented yet. Also, muzzle brake is the only modifier that was in the game for the barrel modification. I'm sure we're going to be seeing suppressors and perhaps heavy barrel stuff. However, there were suppressors for pistols. Moving along to the next category, we can now accessorize our gun with accessories. We have the canted iron sights here, which we've all seen from all the videos, where you turn the gun 45 degrees on its side and you can aim down some iron sights. Then we have the magnifier 2 times, which is that cool little flip up sight that mounts behind your normal sight and allows you to switch between your normal sight and sight behind a, say, 4 times sight, but I believe you probably could, turning a 4 times sight into an 8 times sight. So there's a lot of really cool customization options you could do with a 2 times magnifier. Now we have the normal laser pointer, which as far as I can tell is pretty much identical in function to the one from Battlefield 3. You'll see over on the right we get a nice green little bar increase in mobility. So mobility represents your accuracy while firing from the hip. Also notice the description where it says the bright light makes you highly visible, but this one says can blind enemies if shined directly in their eyes and increases hipfire accuracy. Now it's my theory that the green laser pointer makes you slightly less visible when you're running around the map and you have to be a little bit more accurate to try and blind your enemies. And the red laser pointer makes you highly visible when running around the map, but you don't have to be quite as accurate to blind your enemies with it. Now I'm just basing this mostly on the description of the two devices, but I would assume that DICE would try and make some sort of tactical difference between the two attachments. Then we have the variable zoom 14x, which is available to sniper rifles, and this gives you another 14 times magnification mode to any high-powered scope, useful if the user needs more or less magnification than default. This is going to be a great new addition for the Recon class who wants to adapt to extreme long-range shooting and then to close quarter shooting while using your sight. So this is going to be interesting and I can't wait to see how it plays out. Now I gotta add this little comment in here just in case any devs are watching, but I hope you guys are working on a kill flash for the Recon class. This is a little honeycomb thing that screws onto the end of a sight and it's supposed to kill the flash that is made from scope glint and that sort of thing. This is something that I would love to see in Battlefield 4 because it's already being confirmed that scope glint is back in Battlefield. Give us an accessory that we can attach to our weapons to get rid of that. Obviously we have to make the trade-off between that and some other cool accessories, but it would be nice. Works the same way as Battlefield 3. Stick it on your gun, deploy it, gonna make your firing a lot more accurate. Next up we have the angled grip. This is one of my favorite new attachments that they put in the game. It's going to reduce the initial recoil of a weapon, making your handling a lot better. So it should allow you to be more accurate with the gun. Again, you can see on the right side how the handling has a nice little green bar on it. Next up we have the vertical grip, and this one says you can move easily and fire at the same time with this grip, and it's giving you an increase in the mobility section of the weapon. Now, before I said that mobility meant more accurate hip fire, I think that's what that means in this situation here. It just says you can move it. They're saying you can move while ADSing and fire more accurately. I think they're referring to hip fire accuracy for the most part. Let's take a quick look at the pistol sights here. We have the Ghost Ring here in place of the iron sights. Ghost Ring sights are a fairly new innovation that makes acquiring of targets easier with normal iron sights. This is something that if you watch the multiplayer trailer, you'll see them using this on the pistol a lot. It looks really cool and I think I might actually be using this on most of my pistols in game. Then we have the Delta RDS. These are basically very small red dot sights that you can mount on a pistol if that's your preferred method of sighting in a weapon. You know, with pistols, a lot of it comes down to aesthetics, so people might not prefer the RDS, but we have a compensator which decreases your recoil, making it easier to handle, but also decreases your accuracy. Then we have an option of 2 different suppressors. However, they seem to do exactly the same thing regarding stats. Now, if you're not familiar with suppressors in Battlefield, they're basically going to silence your weapon, making it so you don't pop up on the mini-map when you use the weapon. However, they are going to decrease your hipfire accuracy and basically the range of your weapon. Now, like a noob, I forgot to mouse over the accessories section of the pistols in the game. I believe, though, if memory serves me correct, there were the 2 red and green laser pointer options on there. I don't know if there was a tack light. I don't remember seeing a tack light option for the pistols, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see those making a reappearance for weapons in Battlefield. Lastly, I'd like to talk about field upgrades. Now, these are the specializations that allow you to control what perks you get when your squad ranks up. So far, there's only 2 different ones to pick from in the game. It's offensive and defensive. I have a feeling that we're going to be able to have a bit more customization when it comes to these. Aid boost for level 2, level 3 is explosive resistance, and level 4 is a heal boost, which is a new perk in Battlefield. This makes the time between taking damage and health regeneration shorter. So if you rank up your squad all the way with a defensive boost, it could make you quite powerful. And I was so eager to grab a screenshot of the defensive field upgrades that I forgot the offensive field upgrades, which is the common one in the video later, but I believe the first level is sprint speed increase for offensive upgrade. Then the second one is an ammo increase. Third one is a grenade increase. And the fourth and final one looks like you get increased suppression effect. Anyway, that wraps it up for the weapon, accessories, attachments, sights, all that cool stuff that you can displayed at E3. Now, there's going to be a lot more weapon attachments, I know this, and I can't wait to see what kind of other modifications we can do to our guns. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off. Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today I've got more Battlefield footage captured from the floor of E3, and I want to talk about something that I haven't seen too many people address yet in regards to Battlefield 4, and that's vehicles. Customizing them. New vehicle customization system in Battlefield 3 was less than perfect for, say, outfitting a tank with proximity and armor. The way you had to do it is you had to have the guy who was driving the tank have armor as his customization, and the guy who was gunning the tank have proximity. If they switched up spots, then the driver would employ proximity and the gunner could not employ armor. So it was kind of a silly system where, depending on what seats you were in, the tank could fluctuate in terms of its effectiveness. If the gunner just switches to the driver's seat, all of a sudden the tank loses its armor capabilities, and you can't really switch up in the heat of battle, otherwise you start to lose some of your perks. And that was just kind of a weird, unfortunate system. Well, luckily they've overhauled it completely for Battlefield 4. Here's the main battle tank customization screen, and I've got the primary weapon selected. Currently it's on a 120mm armor-piercing shell, does devastating direct damage and damages infantry near impact. The shell was pretty effective when I was using it. It felt very similar to the standard gun in Battlefield 3. We also have high explosive shells as an option. These shells fly slower and deal more damage to an armored target. The description doesn't really describe anything about the splash damage on infantry, so that's something we'll have to see about. For the secondary, we have the coaxial light machine gun. Now, in Battlefield 3, we also have heavy machine gun as an option. Just because you don't see it here in the menu doesn't mean it's not coming. Again, this is pre-alpha footage. Most of the stuff isn't in the game yet. I did have time to test out the coaxial LMG, and it's got unlimited ammo, and it's very effective at taking out infantry. Here is the infrared smoke countermeasure, pretty much identical in description to the one in Battlefield 3. You'll notice that it's located in the countermeasure section, and it'll be curious to see if, because reactive armor does seem a bit like a countermeasure, I believe it would be classified as a countermeasure, so you might have to choose between IR smoke or armor. Only one option in the optics area, that's zoom optics. I imagine we'll be getting something like infrared or night vision later. Currently, the only thing to select for the upgrade slot is maintenance, which makes the time between taking damage and automatic repairs much shorter. I'm very interested to see what other options they have for the upgrade slots, perhaps increased mobility or something along that nature. Now here's the big change for Battlefield 4. Rather than just having to have universal upgrades for your tank, zoom optics is one of them. You also have infrared optics, and proximity scanner is now designated as a gunner upgrade. This is awesome, and I don't believe you're going to get that as an option for the driver's seat. So if you want that proxy scanner, you're going to have a gunner. Now when it comes to attack helicopters, we have some cool new weapons that have been confirmed. First of all, the Hydra rocket pods are kind of the standard rocket pod, very similar to the ones in Battlefield 3. But then you also have the option to switch over to the Zuni rocket pods, which are slow, powerful anti-infantry rockets. Now I did equip these and try playing with them, and unfortunately they just weren't in the game yet, so I ended up flying around with no primary weapon. Then of course we have heat seekers, and unfortunately I didn't get to capture this gameplay, but I did have some very long helicopter runs where I shot down multiple transport and attack helicopters. They seem to work very much the same way they do in Battlefield 3. Now, of course, we only have IR flares in the countermeasure slot. It's not to say that ECM won't be in the game at final launch. Thing, and again, thanks to Daskro for helping me research the game a bit on the floor. He was trying to shoot down an attack helicopter with the Stinger missiles in the game, and he said that the attack heli was able to countermeasure every single one of his heat seekers and none of them hit. So it's possible that they've just kind of copy and pasted the Battlefield 3 mechanics for the alpha, and then it might change by launch, but so far in the current state of the game, the mechanics seem to be the same. Again, we have an upgrades area for the vehicle. Here we have stealth, which is exactly the same it is in Battlefield 3. We'll see if there's something else in there. Again, like increased maneuverability would be very cool. Very much like in Battlefield 3, the gunner also has 3 upgrade areas. Here we have guided missile, we have zoom optics, or the option between infrared optics as well, and then auto loader is the only one in the gunner upgrade slot, making you reload a lot faster. The big difference in how you outfit your chopper in Battlefield 4 versus Battlefield 3 is that the pilot gets an extra customization slot, so you can equip stuff like stealth and infrared flares, and the gunner now has stuff like auto loader, so it doesn't seem like you're going to be overlapping vehicle perks with the attack helicopter. Devastating on the battlefield. Again, I wish I had the footage of me getting in boat duels and taking out jet skis and even taking out tanks on the main land with these things. It's no longer a situation of boats being these adorable little things that are just kind of food for aircraft and tanks. They can now defend themselves very well. So let's talk about the weapon setup. The driver gets to control the primary weapon and a secondary weapon. The default one is a 30mm high explosive shell that does heavy damage against infantry and light armor targets, perfect for battling other boats or infantry on the shore. Now let's take a look at this burst shell. This thing fires 10 round bursts, and it can take out aircraft and other light armored vehicles. Is the ATGM guided anti-tank missile. This thing blows the heck out of armor. I took out a tank with this. I took out another patrol boat. They do massive amounts of damage. I don't believe that they'll one-shot a vehicle, but I think they can one-shot disable a vehicle. Although I'm pretty sure they can one-shot any sort of Jeep. And as if all this stuff wasn't enough, now we have the option to outfit it with anti-air missiles. Imagine equipping your primary with the burst fire anti-air machine gun, and then we have the anti-air missiles to back that up. You can basically turn these boats into a highly maneuverable anti-air platform that have their own escape pods. They even come with their own countermeasure section with infrared smoke. You can have zoom optics if you like. There's an upgrade package. The current one is maintenance. I'm sure all of these sections are going to have multiple options as well, so you can really just customize the heck out of these boats. I gotta say, the time that I spent driving these things around the Shanghai map, which isn't really dominated by water by any means, I was still able to be incredibly effective with these. Did I mention that they have giant miniguns on either side of the boat that are incredibly effective for taking out light armor and infantry as well? These things are just battle machines. No longer are the boats going to be the laughing stock of the Battlefield series. They are now going to be highly feared customization video. There's still plenty of more information about the Battlefield 4 Alpha, so stay tuned if you're interested for that. Thanks for watching, as always, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off. Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today I've got some AC-130 gunship footage from Battlefield 4 Alpha that was displayed at E3. Now this footage actually comes from Dasgro. If you're not familiar with Dasgro, he's been playing Battlefield for ages. He's been part of competitive gameplay all the way back in Battlefield 2. He was part of 20ID. I actually scrimmed against them forever ago in Battlefield 2. He's a really nice guy. I got to meet him at E3, and you can be sure that if Battlefield 4 ever makes a big scene in the competitive area, Dasgro is going to be right on the forefront of that because he's been doing some great commentating with the Battlefield 3 competitive scene. So make sure to check out his channel. It's linked in the video description. He also has some cool Battlefield 4 Alpha exclusive gameplay up on his channel as well. Now I'm going to rewind here for a second so we can see Dasgro cycling through the different weapons. This is the rapid fire artillery cannon, and as you can see, it looks pretty effective. Not a lot of bullet drop on there, much faster firing, probably pretty good for taking out faster moving, lighter armored targets. This is the minigun, definitely going to be effective for taking out infantry, and in fact I was flying around with the helicopter and the AC-130 gunship was doing considerable damage to me with the minigun. Of course, here is the main artillery cannon. The splash damage is crazy, and you're going to see Dasgro take out this tank here with some pretty heavy splash damage, and it looks awesome from this view. Now, the gunship has good zoom ability with its cannons, and this is really important because it's flying a lot higher than it has been in Battlefield 3. In fact, I was flying in the helicopter getting shot at. That didn't work out. How high the gunship was in the sky and realized that I don't think I can actually even fly up high enough to deal with this gunship. I'm not confirming that a helicopter can't kill a gunship, but I just didn't want to spend the amount of time that it took to fly up to the altitude level to test it. Like my time could have been spent better doing other things and researching other areas of the game. One thing that has been under discussion quite a bit were the gun seats in the rapid fire artillery cannon. The third one is the minigun. And I was asking Dasgro about the 4-seat because it has a weird little image on there. He said there were 2 minigun 4-seats. Other people on Reddit have said that one is a passenger seat. It has been confirmed that you can bail out of the gunship though and use it the same way as a dropship. Either way, it's got plenty of firepower to deal with stuff on the ground. And frankly, I think it's kind of a nuisance. It's pretty much as annoying as it has been in Battlefield 3, maybe slightly less, depending on what map you're playing in on Battlefield 4, I'm sure. Of an annoyance. I was watching one player play with the gunship while it was circling C point. Now the commanders in this game get to choose which point the gunship is going to circle around, and the player who was circling around C point was able to lock down the flag on top of the skyscraper to get in there. He was just putting down artillery rounds, miniguns, whatever it was. He was dealing with entire squads around the skyscraper. Now Dasgro just bailed out here as the big skyscraper's about to come down. He has this footage up on his channel too. It's pretty cool looking, parachuting as this huge skyscraper shooting higher than pretty much all the skyscrapers except for the Sea Point skyscraper, and the gunship is very small up there. It is way above his current location, so this gives you an idea of just how high the gunship is in the air. And even when I was flying the helicopter above the Sea Point skyscraper, the gunship was still way the other Battlefield games. What has also been under discussion is how you take down a gunship. As I said before, it seems like it'd be really hard to take one down with a helicopter just because how long it takes to get up there in the air. One of the guys describing commander mode at E3 said that Stingers will take him down. I don't know if this is going to be in the final game. So far it seems like they're kind of still designing things, and they disappear once you exchange C flag in the game. Again, that's something that I haven't really seen yet. One thing I wanted had a rough start with Battlefield 3, and I still don't think it's a great fit in Battlefield 3. I think it's just incredibly overpowered and ultimately just aggravates people. You know, if you want to make a fun video game, then you want to put elements in it that are fun for everyone to play with. And so far, the fun side of the C-130 seems to only be the gunner seat. Sure, it's fun to sit in there and just do, and it's kind of fun, but at the same time, it's totally unfun for everybody on the receiving end of the gunship. So do you really want to put mechanics in your game that are really fun for one person, but really aggravating for lots of people? I think ultimately that's not the best gameplay decision. So hopefully the C-130 gunship is extremely about it. If you want to see different things implemented to balance out the use of the gunship. Level Cap, signing off. Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today I've got some more Battlefield 4 footage, and I'm doing sort of a double vision episode, which is courtesy to Chawboy and Jack Frags. Now, during E3, we were all playing around, trying out different things. I think everybody kind of got to do a little bit of everything, but the rounds that we got to record were pretty limited. Now, the only ones who really got some good footage of attack helicopter gameplay was pretty entertaining, and I managed to get footage from. Make sure to check out their channels in the video description. They actually have a lot of really good information over there. Jack Frags was getting into like the flashbang mechanics and stuff up there as well. Chawboy's got some pretty entertaining videos of him trying to C4 some guys with this transport helicopter. So I'm not the only one putting out the Battlefield 4 news. If you check out their channels, there's plenty of good information over there. So without further ado, let's check out this helicopter run. We're going to start off in the spawn screen here. As you can see, to spawn on a helicopter, it's as simple as clicking on it. Frags is going to spawn into the chopper with them. They were both standing next to each other on the floor of E3, so they could actually communicate while they were flying around. One cool thing that you'll notice right away is that the rockets that Chawboy here is flying from his rocket pods leave a bit thicker smoke trails than in Battlefield 3, and they just kind of enhance the environmental feeling of the whole situation. Now we see Jack Frags' perspective as he's pelting it with the main gun for the gunner seat there. Chawboy's going to turn back around. Explosion. There's just something definitely more improved about the particle effects and graphics in Battlefield 4, especially blowing up armor in the middle of a downtown urban environment. Jack Frags picks off a kill as they're flying over here with the explosive round. A little bit less than Battlefield 3. It's hard to say for certain since nobody had a huge amount of experience gunning the chopper at E3, but you can tell from the perspective that it seems like we might need to be a tiny bit more accurate with those rounds. They just got the drop on some infantry right there. You'll notice there's also an armored vehicle down lightly armored targets and even heavily armored targets. Chowboy's doing a good job of keeping this chopper up between these skyscrapers. And check out the bases of these buildings here. They're just wasting guys in this little department store, and it just looks awesome how much detail they put on the ground level of all these giant skyscrapers. From a distance you look at this map and it's almost like there's no way that they could put this much detail into these buildings and make it feel so alive when you're down at the ground level and even at the top level. But they really did go the extra mile and just put in tons of department stores and little alleys. Make you feel like when you're running around on the ground that you're not in a level, but that you're in a city that's fully destructible and sort of bends to your will when you need it to. Now, D Point is kind of this little indoor mall, and it's such a cool place to fight in because cruise missiles can come through the roof and blow up everybody inside. The choppers, as you can see, can get real low and start taking out guys here. Thinks, you know, why the heck not? We're here at E3. How many chances are we going to get to try and fly inside of this mall here? And I think he catches the tail of the helicopter on the entryway. And again, not bad flying for the first time with the new flying mechanics at E3. Jack Frags bails out, Chowboy gets taken out, and Jack Frags goes on to kill a few more guys on D Point. Now, we do see a lot of cool air-to-ground combat here. I can confirm that there are still air-to-air missiles that the helicopters have. They seem to work pretty much identically to the ones in Battlefield 3 so far. The countermeasures on attack helicopters seem to work exactly the same. Jack Frags didn't really have a secondary gun for the gunner seat in the helicopter, of course. And those aren't in the game yet. It's not to say that they're going to be in the game, but I imagine we'll probably be seeing a return of TV missiles and other cool weapons available. Attack helicopter through this map, through the same map quite a bit, enhances the helicopter experience. Flying between big skyscrapers, flying down at street level. Not only does it just look amazing, but it's so much fun to try out. It's like, think about Sen Crossing in Battlefield 3, that level of destruction, and then taking an attack helicopter into that map. You can just tear apart buildings, and it looks awesome. Again, I want to thank Chowboy and Jack Frags for hooking me up with this footage. They got plenty of awesome Battlefield 4 videos on their channel with their exclusive footage from E3. You should go check them out. Again, they're linked in the video description.
Battlelog for BF4 more than something just the PC gamers can enjoy.
People have their smartphones, they have their tablets, you know, they have their computers next to them while they're playing. And we want to create a battlefield where you can incorporate all these devices in the experience.
For example, when you're going home on the bus after work, you can't wait to get home and play. You go in, you check out the stats for yesterday. You configure, want to see what your friends are playing. And as you get home, you know,
you can actually use these devices and connect them to the game client while you're playing. And you can actually use your tablet as a second screen. And you can use that as a mini-map in-game. So you can see what your squad members are doing. Reflecting.
and you know, maybe you just died, you're waiting a few seconds for the kill screen to disappear. While you do that, you can go to the loadout on the tablet, on the laptop,
and press save. That's going to get instantly reflected to the game.
So if you want to play on a new server, for example, you don't need to quit the game first. You can just find a server using the server browser, or maybe just find a friend who's already playing. Click. Another cool feature we're now introducing with Battlelog is something we call missions. These are small challenges that you can create for you and your friends. For example, you can set tank destroyer among my friends. And you will always get notified when someone takes the lead. So that means you can instantly boot up the game and try to claim that #1 spot yourself.
So we're introducing something we call geo leaderboard. So as a player, or in the whole world, and that's going to be a great way both to compete and rank up, but also get to know new friends on the battlefield.
A lot more.
With Battlelog, you'll get a deeper and richer Battlefield 4 experience.